What's up, YouTube? It's Reezonoticz back once again, and I'm doing a review, just like you saw on the title screen, of Platinum Dunes: A Nightmare on Elm Street remake or reboot, 2010. It's really just called The Nightmare on Elm Street with the same title as the original. Now, I can sum up my review in 2 words, okay? Listen closely. Freddy's back. Alright? Now, I'm going to go into detail, of course, but I just had to say that, man. Let me just say this straight up, right off the bat. The movie is off the chain. It is the best remake or reboot I have seen, and I've seen the Halloween reboot and the sequel. I've seen the Friday the 13th reboot. I've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot and Texas Chainsaw Massacre the beginning, which I guess was kind of a prequel to that. I didn't see the entire thing, so I'd be lying if I said I did, but I saw most of the Hills Have Eyes remake. And though some of those are good and some of those are awful, Nightmare on Elm Street, it is by far, hands down, the best remake this studio has made, okay? And some of you might say, well, that's not saying much. No, you're misunderstanding me. I'm just saying that comparing it to the remakes that have been made lately. On its own, as a standalone film, it's still phenomenal. And I'm going to go into reasons why. First of all, I'm going to give you some stats just to show you the success this movie's having, and it's just finished being opening weekend. I saw it opening night, Friday, April 30th at 10:20 at night with a big group of friends, and then I went back and saw it again on my own just to watch it again because it was that good and analyze it on my own Saturday afternoon, the next day at 5 o'clock. Now, first of all, a couple of stats. I saw this on MSN yesterday. The headline was, Freddy scares up a big win, as Nightmare on Elm Street grosses $32.8 million on opening weekend, making it the biggest, or I'm sorry, making it the most grossing. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Making it the horror movie that has grossed the most money of all time that's been released in April or May. Of all time, all movie releases in the horror genre, of all the horror movies that have come out in April or May, of all time, Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 has grossed the most. It has become the biggest selling one. So it's enjoyed a phenomenal weekend, a phenomenal opening weekend. And that's just one of the stats I read. Now, I've seen many reviews and read many reviews from people who have seen it. And I've seen a lot of negative reviews, and I've seen a lot of good reviews. And this was before I went to go watch it on my own. Then I went to go watch it. Now, the negative reviews, it's funny because I see so many negative reviews saying things like this. It's too repetitive. It's always dream sequence, death. Dream sequence, death. I saw one saying, and this was a guy here on YouTube by the name of Blackbuster Critic. Nothing against him. I'm just mentioning his name because he's the one who actually said this particular comment that I'm about to say. He said that the kills weren't that good. Again, no disrespect. I'm just stating what he said. What else did I hear in the negative reviews? I heard that it was too similar to the original because it used too many key scenes from the original. I heard some people say that Jackie Earle Haley did not do a good job of playing Freddy Krueger because he wasn't funny, because he didn't say enough one-liners, enough jokes. Off the top of my head, that's all I can remember in the negative reviews. Let me just address each and every single one of those concerns for the people out there who are Nightmare on Elm Street fans, or the people who are out there who are horror movie fans, or people out there who just may want to check this movie out but are scared to do so because the reviews are bashing it. None of those negative comments that I just mentioned are warranted, and I'll go on record and give you details. First of all, what was the first one I said? People said it's too repetitive. Dream sequence, death. Dream sequence, death. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This has been the formula since day one, okay? In the original Nightmare on Elm Street, that's all it was. The movie opened up with Freddy constructing his glove. Then it went right to a dream sequence that Tina was having as he was stalking her through the boiler room. Then it went to school the next day where she meets up with Nancy and tells her about the dreams. Then it goes to Tina's house where she has another dream sequence and she dies. It's always dream sequence, repeat in these movies. That's what it is. It's a horror movie. If you're looking for some complex movie of the century, intriguing plot that makes you think and has a bunch of symbolism and all this, go see American Beauty or something. This is a horror movie, a slasher movie. It is what it is. Now, as far as the other comment that said, what was the other comment that, I'm sorry, there was the comment that it was too repetitive, the comment that the kills weren't inventive. Blackbuster Critic was one of the dudes that said this. He said specifically that it's 2010. We should be able to see Freddy doing some awesome kills. But I'm gonna assume what you mean, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, dude. But I'm assuming you mean with the technology we have, we should be seeing some tremendous, like, over the top kills where Freddy is using his powers and all that, and just conjuring up different ways to kill these people. Now the problem with that is what made the original Nightmare on Elm Street so great, and what made Freddy in general so great and so unique, was the weapon, the glove. Whereas the other horror movie icons had an axe or a chainsaw or a knife or whatever they found, Freddy had this unique, iconic, terrifying glove with 4 blades on it. And because you have a weapon that unique and that terrifying just by looking at it, you want to utilize that weapon. How did Freddy kill Tina in the original? With the glove. How did Freddy kill Johnny Depp? Well, he pulled him into the bed, yes, but with all that blood coming out of there, I'm pretty sure he used the glove. You know what I'm saying? The only death, how did Freddy kill the mother at the end? He pulled her through the window with the glove. You know, the only death in that movie that didn't use the glove was the one in the prison where Rod Lane got hung in his sleep, which was, that was pretty cool. For the last, I don't know how many sequels in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, ever since pretty much 3. Round 3 was the last time I really saw him use the glove, the beginning of part 4. We've had Freddy turn people into puppets. We've had Freddy people turn people into roaches. We've had Freddy turn people into video games. We've had Freddy people kill people by throwing them off a plane. This is retarded, man. We want to see Freddy Krueger use that weapon. There's nothing more primal and more gruesome looking than that weapon. If you watch Wes Craven's documentary on how he came up with the idea for A Nightmare on Elm Street, he said that there went a lot of thought into the weapon and into the design of the glove. He said that when he looked back on history and the mythology and all that, the most primal weapons, the most weapons that strike fear in the hearts of men are the bladed, edged weapons. It's been like that ever since the old days with arrowheads and spears and blades and knives. And he said, okay, couple that with the fact that the most evil things that can ever be done are going to be done by the human hands. You put the blades on the hand and you got the weapon. All right? He didn't want Freddy to be turning people into roaches and puppets and all this garbage. We want to see the glove. The kills in Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 are perfect. Perfect. I heard some people say that, the Tina, or in this movie her name is Chris, the death scene with the blonde girl getting thrown around the ceiling wasn't as impactful or as good as it was 25 years ago. I'll agree for this reason. 25 years ago, it was new. 25 years ago, we didn't think we'd ever see a girl levitate out of a bed, get thrown around a room, and ripped open. Okay, but if here in 2010, had we not seen that till this day, and now in 2010, some movie did that for the first time, it wouldn't be as impactful as it was 25 years ago, because it was fresh back then. The technology, you would think the technology wouldn't allow that back then. That's why it wasn't as impactful. But let me tell you that when you compare the two scenes, the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake scene, that scene is a lot more violent in this movie. Whereas in the first one, she gets levitated out of bed, spun around, thrown against the wall and dragged up the ceiling. And the new one in the remake, she gets levitated. She smacks the roof. She flips around. She rolls all over the roof, smacks into the wall, comes back to the bed, hits the other wall, gets turned upside down, and then gets slashed from her very sternum all the way down to her groin. I mean, it was a lot more, to me, not impactful because, like I said, it wasn't new, but it was a lot more gruesome and a lot more visceral and a lot more brutal, man. He smacked her around, man.